my background being more qualified in architecture, I studied in London from 2007 up until 2012 in architecture. Before that, I did my civil engineering, and combining the two, we decided, well, let's go into contracting. Little did we know as youngsters, contracting, like Jay and LC said earlier, we're sitting at about 3% on profit margins and stuff like that. It becomes extremely difficult. So that's where we branched out into the three different sectors of the company under one umbrella, where we're doing designing and assisting engineers and architects. I've actually got one or two clients that are in the room now that have used YBC before. We predominantly shifted out to outsourced BIM. So we come in and we assist companies that either they've been victims to the brain drain and their superstars have immigrated to Australia or Canada. We fill those gaps in for the guys, and we just assist project by project. Get on the project for a week, or you can now have us on there for a year, depending on the nature of the game. After the design side of the company picked up, the construction side sort of started taking a back burner. And the last section was then maintenance. So other guys are designing it, other guys are building it, and then we've got the maintenance section of the company. So having done that and pretty much running for the past decade with that, we've started to find balance in using BIM. And BIM ties all three of those sections together quite nicely. And that's what I'm going to show you guys here. We found that using certain tools in BIM, and when we talk about BIM, it's not just Autodesk and Revit. There are a multitude of other tools out there as well. I think a lot of guys know what they are, the SketchUps, the InDesigns, the Photoshops, all of those fancy projects and programs. We predominantly use Autodesk, and we find that they have been the most user-friendly, if I can say that. They're easy to learn, they're easy to use, and everyone knows in construction time is money. So if you can save time, you're basically saving money, which pushes your profits, which in construction, whether you're on the design team or the actual contractor building, both of them have their downfalls where you can start losing money. And that's just how it is. So with my presentation over here, I just want to run through a couple of slides here. So we've had the guys talking about the insights this morning into where the construction sector is at, the health status, I'd like to call it, of the construction sector. And then we've had the other guys, colleagues in the back there presenting on what Build was doing. I'm predominantly going to speak about the BIM tools that we used, which is Revit, and then the ACC as of late, what we use it for and how it has helped the project along. Okay, so enhancing collaboration and communications. This is a hospital that we were actually working on. And then a lot of people don't understand the complexities of these projects. And BIM provides a shared digital platform. So the architect might not always understand what the mechanical engineer and the electrical engineer needs to do from a BIM perspective. And that's where they start collaborating with each other, saying that your rooms need to be set up in a specific way so that I can do my work in my specific way. And the architect can reciprocate and say that I need you to do your stuff in that method so that when I receive it back, it plugs in this method. So using these BIM tools, predominantly Revit, is fundamental to a project where the platform brings it all together and it's all live linked. Back in the day, we always used the Dropbox, and the first versions from Autodesk was, I think it was called Box on its own or something like that, where you'd upload the models and everyone would download it, link it in. 3 days later, they realize there's a mistake, and only then does the architect or the engineer, vice versa, get the notification something's not lining up. In today's time, Autodesk has worked around the clock in the background to bring these tools to life, where they've listened to us as end users and said, let's see where we can help these guys. And they've actually started getting old school guys that were architects, they were engineers to help program the software and the tools that we use today. So it's not just a computer programmer that's sitting there, it's actually an electrical engineer that has said to Autodesk, this is the tools that will be beneficial to the industry, mechanical, fire, architecture. Okay. This is just an example of where some of the stuff was not lining up 10-4 on this one. It was an interesting project. Okay, so this one is another one where there wasn't an architect on this project. This is actually a mining project. This is the oxygen supply down in a gold mine. Anglo America was the client. Just for anyone who is from Anglo, I did get permission. This is the engineering models. And we emphasized the steel members, which the structural engineer was involved on. The mechanical engineer with his piping and ducting and all of that stuff was clashing left, right, and center. So we got onboarded using BIM quite early in the game, where they were busy starting to prepare the site and clearing the site, starting to dig for foundations. Where we realized that we did a traffic study using BIM tools for the mine. We asked them the delivery of the equipment and the entire life cycle, which is 18 years on this compressor. What needs to be done in those 18 years and what are the increments? Every 6 months, every year, what needs to be done? They gave us a list of things that need to be done with this building. We took it and realized that with the traffic study and the trucks that need to come in and out, the building's about 180 degrees in the wrong direction. We saved Anglo 4.8 million. So that justifies spending the right money on BIM tools, spending the right money on the hardware and the software, and getting the right skills onto the project early enough. That was a case study we did. I think this was 2022. Okay, it's again same project. Using your BIM tools, increasing efficiencies and reduced wastage. I think with last year, LCB actually included wastage into the stats that she showed, where they were sitting at close to 19% wastage on any construction site, which is a very high level. For South Africa, our economy is already so crippled, we can't be wasting money on those high levels of wastage. Using BIM, we can start getting very, very close to precise amounts, nuts, bolts, washers, if the BIM model allows you to take it to that level. At the end of this project, I think we had statistically calculated 9% on this project, which is significant to our general hotels, high-rise buildings going up in the cities. This being out in the Bundus 400 kilometers from here, you had to be very, very, very cautious about ordering materials, getting it to site, and it's the wrong stuff. You don't want to be in that position. So they allowed us a significant amount of time to get it right. So when it was packed in a container and shipped out 400 kilometers away, it was correct. So we were quite proud to say that using the BIM tools, a reduced value of that, if you're taking your 5% into consideration on a 100 million rand project, do the maths. It justifies the price that you capital required for BIM, implementing BIM, and again, the skills required. Coming back to just a general retail block, this is a little evolution block. BIM tools enhance your clash detection risk management. So I used this one as an example. I actually switched off some of the ceilings just so that it looks like it wasn't designed for. So typically what would happen in the old days using AutoCAD, you'd get a design from the architect, you'd try to do it according to his design and his look and feel. And what if there isn't a ceiling in a certain area? Then that specific design wouldn't work. So using BIM tools, you get very accurate. 100% of what's in the BIM model is the intention of the design, and that's the intention of construction. So using those tools, it helps to coordinate things very quickly and very accurately, and you can quantify it. Again, it saves time, saves a lot of money at the end of the day. And if a design change comes through, client can quite easily change his mind easier, and you don't have to arm wrestle your clients and say, look, the design's in, we're building that, you've signed off on it. All right, streamlining construction scheduling, coordination, that's where the guys from Build, they touched on that. It's also available through the ACC platform, the Autodesk Construction Clouds. So it becomes easier for supporting the whole BIM process, and I live by it. Failure to plan is planning to fail. So at the end of the day, this is a very old method, but it used to work. ACC helps a lot easier now. After the building has been built, because we've got these digital twins at our fingertips now, I think London has mandated it that by the year 2028 they want a full city digital twin. Those of the members in the audience that are also part of the BIM community, we all know about the Hatfield project, where in Pretoria they've got a digital twin of that section of the city, which is very, very useful and very helpful for city planning. The municipality can start planning their upgrades. They can see what the city's performances are, and if we bring it even closer just to a single building, your facilities manager can start planning his maintenance easier. If you're planning your maintenance up front for the year or for the next 5 years, it becomes more cost effective, where everyone knows supply and demand. If you need something immediately, the price is spiked. If you need something in 6 months' time, you can negotiate. If you need something in 2 years' time, well, I'm looking somewhere else. I'm going to your competitors and I'm letting you know. So for facilities management, there are other packages within the Autodesk package, if you want to call it that you can start planning your maintenance. It becomes easier using BIM tools, and the skills required to do that is reasonably easy to train up existing facilities managers who are old school PDFs. They are flashing through drawing after drawing as a facilities manager and trying to plan it that way. So it becomes easier when they've got a digital twin of their facility to plan it and do the maintenance thereafter, the life cycle. There's another one that I wanted to touch on after this, but I actually didn't have time to put the slide in. It's the end of life of a building. If you've got your digital twin, you can plan the deconstruction of the building instead of planning for demolition. Demolition, basically, in the name of it, you're demolishing what it is. There are a lot of recycling initiatives that are starting up in South Africa and that are actually it's rife in in Europe, and the US has actually started with it as well, where they deconstruct the building for the raw materials and they recycle it into the system again. There's a lot of guys at the University of Pretoria that they're pushing for that. It's actually become part of the curriculum for the architecture schools, the engineering schools, that they need to think about those things, because there's a lot of infrastructure in South Africa that has reached the end of their life. And we don't need to demolish it, we can deconstruct it. So that was my next one. We'll get back to this slide. So let's go into, where were we? Okay. So this is a project that we've embarked on quite recently. We've been negotiating this thing with, it was an old student colleague of mine when we were at university. He's got his own firm and studio in London. And the BIM requirements on this project was quite an intensive requirement from the end users and the client. This is the UK's version of social housing. So, Blarney, 3-bedroom flat. Social housing with central heating as a bare necessity. Okay. They contacted us and reached out because they've been following us over the years on what we're doing and our influence in the world of BIM and how we assist all sorts of projects along the way. So we've been engaging for the past 6 months on this one, and we've actually started about 2 weeks ago. We actually started doing their digital twin for them as part of their deliverables. UK, they are at the equivalent of South Africa's stage 4.1, I believe. So they're starting to gear up for construction. Given all of this, literally it's just this PDF with all the floor plans. It's a six-story building. and they've just given us this as their markups. They've given us some typical rooms, and for us in South Africa, that's more than enough. They also shared with us, and this is a live project, they shared a couple of AutoCAD layouts with us. So we got more or less an idea of what they did. This was an export from SketchUp, because they're using SketchUp in the UK. They are being mandated to change over to the Autodesk platforms, the Revits, and the design side of things. We took all this information, and I believe it is this one, I think. You see, we changed my resolution, Joe. Now it's all damaged. This model was put together. We started this on Thursday last week, just using that information that was given. So that's a markup. They give it to us. We make ground floor look like ground floor. So over international waters, BIM tools can bring the world closer together. This is a live project in the UK, and they're using South Africa for their BIM capabilities and to deliver their projects in there. One thing that we've done here as well is we've actually engaged with these guys and said, can we cost it and see what the comparison would be for South Africa versus the UK? In the UK, they actually announced the budget. They said that this thing shouldn't cost more than £14 million to build. Loosely translated, it's about 280 million rand. We costed it up, and I think if I really sharpen my pencil, I can get it to just under 190 million rand for this building. So that just gives you an idea of what the different landscapes look like from country to country. A brick is a brick, doesn't matter where it is in the world. So it's quite interesting. We are hoping to break ground in January 2026, and I think it'll be interesting to see if we can follow this through. If I'm invited next year to the same presentation, then we'll definitely take it up from there. That was one of our projects on that one, which is currently live. There is another live project that we're busy with at the moment, which is actually up the road. This one over here. So with this project, the architects actually gave us access to the BIM models. We inherited the models for collaboration reasons. So we're actually teaming up with the mechanical guys and the electrical guys. Let me see if I can pull this one on. Don't save. So on this one, they gave us this model and then asked us to see if they can fit in a 5 megawatt battery. And we said that we're probably going to run out of a bit of space, but let's see what we can do. So we went and modeled up all the electrical and came up with this. So the new design and the new walls, we calculated we've saved the project 2.1 million rand in construction mistakes. And there's the batteries. Those we got from the suppliers, the manufacturers, the inverters, the transformers. We put everything in, and then using all the BIM tools on live projects, it helps to get everyone on board in the same place. Now, I actually need 2 hands for this, but never mind. So BIM in reality, it doesn't stop at the professional team. Yes, the professional team starts it, but you've got the as-built that comes in afterwards. And quite often the design team who've studied their electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, whatever it is, they apply the theories. But it's the guys that are on the ground with the angle grinder in their hands and the socket set. They're the ones that will tell you it cannot fit, it will not fit, and we're not going to make a plan, change your design. So I would like to say that's the end of my presentation. Further to all of this, I think that with the help of Modena and the guys, it has been fundamental to start using BIM as the starting point on any project, even if it's someone else has designed it and they've approached Yorkros Construction to do the build, one of my first questions is, where are the BIM models? I'd like to audit those myself so that I can see what has been lost, what has not been thought about, and just give that industry experience, bring that to the table. So I think at this point, I don't know how many of my competitors are at that same level where the actual builders are qualified architects.